Hello, this is the CSM podcast. This is our first episode. It's just me, Cooper, and Sawyer. And today we're just going to kind of talk about our past duck hunting seasons, kind of what we've learned in the 3 years we've started a duck hunt. Um, I'll have Coop go over the numbers real fast of what we've killed on the property for the last 3 years.
Yeah, so we started in the 22-23 duck season, and we harvested one goose. Then the next year, we got 3 ducks and 10 geese. And then a year after that, we got 15 ducks, which would be this year. We got 15 ducks and one goose.
Which would be 2024.
And
Yes.
technically that and 2025 because of goose season. But
Yeah.
you guys didn't kill any snow geese this year? No.
No.
How many did you guys even get out, or are they even in the area, or what?
We went out once, but it was kind of already too late. Most of them had already migrated through.
Yeah. Um. Well, I mean, I guess like one thing I'm gonna ask because obviously we're new hunters, all of us really, and we really haven't really had anybody grow up around us that's duck hunted consistently. But like honestly, what's one big tip, Sora, that you probably learned from your first year that you were like, I don't know why I was doing that. That was pretty stupid. And then now, like obviously your third, going into your fourth year, this obviously next year, like what is one thing you're like, I don't know why I was doing that.
My biggest thing probably was don't go hunting with Cooper.
What?
Now, I like to go on my own, go off on my own. You really need to have good cover when you're duck hunting. Sometimes we didn't really have the best duck hunting cover, and the ducks would like see us or something. We still haven't 100% figured it out yet on the river, but we've sort of dialed it in a little bit. We've gotten better over the past few years, as you can tell by our numbers going up. But
That's definitely the truth though. Like that's one thing I never believe people they would always say like cover is the number one thing and everybody wants to worry about decoys and do I need the flocked head and the best call and realistically like 9 times out of 10 the reason why you wouldn't kill anything or you wouldn't see or like not necessarily see anything but they wouldn't come in and land is because of our cover and that even like you said this year I think me Cooper or I think it was me Cooper and or Morgan Cooper and I went out and there was like 3 days in a row it was like really good and we had that blind brushed in like really crazy we were probably we're like 20 yards off the river and
Yeah.
I don't know why they literally did not see us. Our only issue was they literally did not want to land anywhere near where our decoys were. They just wanted to land downriver and some swam up, some didn't. But I'd actually agree with you on that. I think the one of the most important things is cover and making sure your concealment so they cannot see you.
A big thing too is like, are the ducks actually there? Because I
That's
mean,
very
we've gone
true.
hunting and we've a lot of the times we've just not done good because the ducks aren't there.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
year that wasn't so much a problem.
yeah. It's it's hard because especially the area we hunt, it's not like we can go scout an area because most of the lakes and places where they're gonna sit are tucked way away into private ground or really like all the lakes have that like all wooded all around them. So it's like there's no way we're gonna be able to scout them and to see if there's even ducks in the area. It's more so if you're deer hunting, in late November, and maybe if you see a bunch of ducks, it might be smart to go duck hunting the next few days or really like bet on the weather, I guess. But I mean, there were days it was the worst weather I've ever seen, and we'd see the more ducks, and then it'd be the perfect weather day, and then be no ducks.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
also, I remember like this year, I feel like we saw a lot more green wings than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an increase in green wing numbers or what, but I have no idea.
I
But
I also don't understand how like the the ducks act weird on at least the part of the river that we hunt. I don't know why they would land further upstream, further downstream. Some would swim up, some would stay back. But I mean,
Yeah,
we've
I
only been hunting the river for like 3 years now, so we're still learning. But I think
and yeah,
building this pond out there definitely would be better for the ducks
yeah. I
and the
mean, and
geese.
we'll definitely talk more about that later in the episode here. But I that's definitely something that I think we could touch on, and like ideas that we're gonna try to do to implement so that we could obviously harvest more ducks and also get more ducks to land because like what I don't know, Cooper, how far across do you think with the river an average spot would be? Like 10 yards, 20 yards at most?
Where we hunt, probably 30, but uh, yeah, I'd say 30 yards, like where we hunt. But it really depends because depending on the water level, it could be 10 yards. I mean, a couple times it probably was 10 yards.
Yeah. And plus the logs is
And,
absolutely awful.
and I think that has to do with how the ducks land because the river, like there's current, it gets kind of crowded. And I think it just makes the ducks nervous or they don't know where to land. So they just go downriver.
Yeah. Which is strange because every time we've ever goose hunted down there, and even a lot of times like in previous years duck hunting, they would always land upriver and glide down to you rather than land downriver and swim against the current to, you know, like remember that? I mean, I
I
think it
mean,
was
Yeah,
last year we had a
it could
goose
have,
land like 200 yards upstream and just glide down to us.
it could be the wind too that makes them decide where they want to land too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
And the
it's
thing,
definitely. Go ahead. Sorry.
it also is kind of sucks because for the river, there's only certain winds that are good for hunting because it gets so tight in there.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Sorry, do you have something there?
No, I was just saying that I agree with that.
No.
Like you have to have the perfect wind for them to be able to land where we're hunting, which we only have like 2 or 3 spots out there that are perfect for certain wind directions, so it's limited for us.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it's the one thing I have noticed about down there is when you get a push of new birds, you need to be out there because actually I think this is one of the first like I think our very, very, very first year hunting, I think was probably one of the best days we've ever been out there. It was what, -2, and we saw
Hmm.
5,000 mallards and I don't know, another 5,000 like geese and like obviously we weren't very good at hunting, so we missed a few shots and they had no idea what we were doing. But at the same time, like kind of Cooper, you said earlier, like when the birds are there, you gotta be there. Like, and it's
Yeah.
very difficult if you're not down there consistently because ducks are very rarely gonna sit in this almost creek-like river. I mean, I wouldn't even consider calling it a river a lot of times because when you think of a river, you look at the Illinois or the Mississippi, and that thing's that'd be 30 of our rivers. You know what I mean? So it's really like a small river slash creek, but I think water levels is major, major, major. That has screwed us out of a lot of hunts because I know for a fact we've had multiple groups working and circling, and they're like have nowhere to go, and they're like we don't know where to land. And I think that is another reason why they land downstream, is just because they're like, oh, this is the only open area that we can sit down and feel comfortable because of the logs and the current and every other thing. But like you said, I think that making sure the birds are in the area is honestly probably one of the like I'd say that's the second most important thing because you don't need a ton of decoys. You just need to let them know you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a nice factor about hunting the river too, though, is it doesn't lock up like when you get a big freeze. So
Yeah.
usually about uh, I've noticed like 2 or 3 days after a really big cold front, the ducks are just loaded down there because they don't really have anywhere else to go, and there's just so many migrating through because of the cold front.
Yeah, that is true. Then that is honestly one really special thing about your property is that you have a big log jam on it and it seems like above the log jam it sometimes will freeze, and then below the log jam I don't think it's ever frozen. We've been out
Yeah,
there
the
and it was what, -8 or like almost a 10 or something one day, and it was still flowing like normal.
it catches all the ice. It can't freeze unless it's like been frozen for like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe. I've never seen it frozen though.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it also sucks because that only happens during goose season. That doesn't like to happen during our duck season, which is a whole other freaking topic that we could talk about the, like, I think what this year it ends on the 24th, which is of December, which is a joke.
Yeah. No, it
Yeah, it
Um
definitely.
is.
It would be really nice if it went 2 weeks into January. Even a week would be
yeah,
nice.
I mean I'd even take December 31st honestly, because, and I'm sorry, I feel like I've cut you off a few times here, but you can even weigh in on this because I know you love your goose hunting. But how many times is it we've been duck hunting on the last day of season, and we'll go out there the next day, the duck numbers within one day, and I don't know if they're just that smart, or even within a week, like. I think I have countless videos on my phone from Cooper sending me duck videos of just dumping into your goose decoys because they're just
Yeah.
everywhere. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
honestly, it's just ridiculous.
once it gets into goose season, then they all show up in like that first week or two of goose season into January.
Yeah,
So that's why
I
it'd
mean,
be nice if they could extend it, just so we could have a little bit of extra time to kill some ducks.
what dates would you like it to? Because I think it starts like the 29th or 30th of October. When would you want it to start? Sure, start and end. Because obviously it's got to be around
Uh,
60 days, which you don't have to do the math. But
I'd like to start probably mid-November and then go all the way throughout mid to late January.
that's fair. I mean, I'd even be up for a split, which I know a lot of states do. But I'd even just take like, because unless you're hunting public ground, you might harvest a ton in that first day or first few days. After that, I mean, it's so hot that there's nothing down in Illinois at all, like nothing.
yeah, I think a split would be the best thing to do, and because you could, like, for us, we deer hunt too, so it wouldn't even matter if duck season we couldn't like hunt for like a week or two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd also like to see a lowering of the limits, just like by one
Yeah,
duck.
that
That's
could
a,
help.
yeah.
I would too, because then we probably could limit out.
So true. It
Uh,
is so true. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of, I want to say issues, but a lot of quarrels from hunters in that like in that range, which is funny because I feel like everybody I meet says the exact same things, but when you go to look at like they do studies and they do this stuff, and it's like 50% of the hunters are like, "Oh, I think the hunting season's perfect," or I think it's perfect timing, and I would be as moderate as like just give me a week on the end of season. Don't even have to touch into January. Just stop at the 31st because I feel like
yeah, I agree.
you would have a solid week of hunting there, like no matter what. And usually early December, there's usually a good few days like we had this year. It was like
Oh,
what, the like 12th of
yeah,
December. It was like insane.
yeah.
But
It
I mean,
just
Cooper,
doesn't get as cold like it used to.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it does, but it doesn't till later. So that's the
Yeah,
hard part.
and it doesn't stay cold for super long. We'll get like a week or a week and a half of like really cold weather, but then it'll go away.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, I understand like how people say like it's still good like through November, but like I think we kind of judge it by when the mallards get here. Like obviously through November you're going to be killing a lot of wood ducks and teal, but you're not going to really kill much for mallards till December.
Yeah. I mean, actually,
Yeah.
speak on that, Cooper, because I know you have one complaint about your property about harvesting only one type of duck.
Yeah,
Until actually this year, I think was so. What'd you shoot this year?
Green wing.
Yeah, and that we saw a
yeah, we don't
ton.
hunt. early enough to kill anything else. We start duck hunting during December at our farm, and all we kill is mallards, and that's all we see too. This year we saw a lot of greenwing, but
We
it's
also saw some wood ducks too.
yeah, a couple times, but it doesn't compare anything to the number of mallards you see.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I don't know if that's just where we're located that they don't very often to our area or what. But I mean, it just I feel like just kind of being strange, even like being on like a because we always see in the springtime turkey hunting and stuff. We always see divers in the river, mergansers, wood ducks. I mean, even like maybe like a widgeon or something. But it is so strange, and obviously we don't harvest enough ducks to really put a number on that. But I really agree with you on that. I don't know what I mean. I'm not complaining because a mallard is a very
Yeah,
fun duck to shoot because most people will take a mallard over almost anything, but I don't know. I do find it interesting because I don't mind shooting a mixed bag. You go to public land. You know what I mean. You might shoot a ringneck, a pintail, you know what I mean, and maybe a
I mean,
diver, or maybe a mallard. And it's kind of funny because it seems like on public land, a lot of places mallards are actually like a walk-in unit. It seems like mallards are very far and few between unless you have a crazy cold front, which I find just
yeah.
so funny because no matter what, we only get mallards.
I mean, for newer hunters like us too, we want to be like killing new species that we haven't got before. Because I mean, that's obviously cool to add a new species to the list. But all we
What would be
kill
your
is mallards,
species?
huh?
Huh? Well, what's the one you want to kill? What's the
Wood duck for sure.
Top of the list for me is a pintail, a Drake
yeah? I'd
pintail.
I'd like to kill a nice widgeon too, just because of the colors of them. But wood ducks are very pretty. I have had the ability to um kill a wood duck, and they are very pretty. Which I'm not trying to bounce around, but obviously that our wood duck pond that is on a different piece of property. I would really love and really hope that I could get back soon enough this year that we could maybe go shoot a limit of wood ducks because I remember we scouted that during teal season, and I have never seen so many wood ducks on a pond in my life.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
Yeah, that
insane.
was absurd.
yeah, and
I'm
I
sure
also
they'll be back because there's the food there that they love. And it's just like a pond where ducks would be. So
yeah
Yeah,
covered
nobody
in
messes with that pond either. It's just a farm pond.
yeah, and I also proceeded to miss three shells and a goose, but here we are.
Yeah, you can
Also we
ask
we
Mark about that one.
yeah Marco. We'll make Marco get an appearance on the CSM After Dark at some point. I think we might call it that. CSM After Dark. That sounds good. If anybody has any name suggestions, either email us or subscribe or send us a DM or something on one of our socials, and we'll put that into consideration. Also, if you have any questions, you can email it to us. DM us, do whatever it takes to get a hold of us, and we'll try to answer your questions in some of these because I think we're gonna plan to post maybe. I think we'll probably post. We'll record four of them and probably post those once every week for a month, obviously, and then after that we'll either go once every 2 weeks or once a month, depending on how busy we get. But obviously, there ain't much to record this time of year, is there? Sort.
There is not. There's about to be though. It's getting warm
uh,
out. It's consistently being in the 60s and 50s, so I'll start filming some fishing videos and stuff like that. Getting back out
The
there. I plan on doing some turkey hunting, videoing that.
Your turkey numbers seem pretty good, though. It seems like with all the what we've seen all year and with the
Yeah,
trapping, I mean, you guys have
we
been
were out
doing.
there yesterday. We were out there and we saw some gobblers and jakes in the neighbor's field, so that's a good sign.
There you go.
And we mowed our field down, so they should be in there too.
That's good. Yeah. Um. So I'll have you two talk because you both know a little more about this. I mean, you'll have Coop kind of explain the outright of your property and the genre of it, of what you guys are planning to do, and then kind of like what you expect from it. So, Coop, I'll let you explain kind of what you guys are planning to do for this upcoming hunting season.
yeah. So we've got our dad into duck hunting, and I mean, all three of us have been trying to convince him, like, it would be really cool to build a duck hole. Like, it doesn't have to be anything big, but we're finally going to go through with it this year, and we're just going to try and make a duck hole from scratch. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we have a little grassy area right next to our bean field, and it's about a 1 to 2 acre little plot that we mowed down. We got to test the dirt to make sure it can hold water, and we're hoping that it can hold water, and then we're gonna just pump in about a foot or two of water in there, and we're gonna plant some corn. I don't know exactly what we plan on planting yet. We probably will plant corn. I'm not sure what else, and we're gonna
Yeah, I'm guessing I think Cooper said something about like a shorter corn, just like is meant for
yeah
waterfowl and whatnot.
yeah,
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 I
and we're
mean,
gonna put
I think that's a good idea. I mean, we've obviously, like Cooper said, we've wanted it for a while.
I mean, yeah, it's not anything huge. It's only going to be an acre. We're still trying to
yeah
decide what we should plant in it because obviously corn would be the best, but I don't know. We've never done this before. And another problem with the corn is that animals destroy it at our place.
yeah they do.
We'd have to make sure, we'd have to find some way to keep the animals out of it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially you guys have a lot of raccoons and deer and squirrels.
And I mean, the corn would also just take up a lot of space in there. Like if you planted like rice or millet or something, it would
Yeah,
take up
that's
less
true.
than space.
Yeah, and I
And
think honestly, the main benefit to having because I mean, it'll only be like less than 100 yards right off the river, right? Maybe even 50. And there's a
Oh,
little creek that's
it's
right.
off that creek there. It's 30 yards.
Oh, I mean, and I think honestly, what the main benefit of that would be is honestly like what we've been having struggles with is a landing area. I think if they have like an actual area that they can comfortably set up and get down into, I think that will increase our odds by at least 50%. Because I mean, Coop, me and you, there was those 2 days in a row that we worked groups of. I think we probably
Oh
worked at
yeah.
least 100 ducks, and I mean, I think we probably got 80 of them to land, but only about 4 or 5 landed anywhere close to us. They would all land a little
Yeah.
downriver, like we would pull them off their path. And I mean, even there was that one day we were both shocked that we were on the hail call and they were like 200 yards away, and then 30 seconds later they come swooping right over the top of us, and
Hmm.
we all were like, what in the world? Like, where these things come from? And they were the same ducks that were circling back around. But then again, when you have a group of 20 mallards with a stick infested river with a lot of current, they're going to only go to the only spot that seems kind of comfortable, and that's a bigger open area. And we really can't find that consistently throughout duck season with the changing water levels of the river. So
Yeah,
yeah
this duck hole would solve all those problems. You have really good visibility for the ducks. There's no doubt they would be able to see you, and they have way more water space to land. And you could get geese in there too. We struggle getting geese in the river because geese are really picky about where they want to land. But I
100%.
think with with this open area and more water, we could get them to land.
I
yeah.
definitely
We
agree.
we
Especially with food in
also
there.
we also would put in a permanent blind on this little pond, I guess you would call
Yeah,
it. So that would be better than having some portable blind like we use now out there, because you can just brush that in and have it the whole
true.
season and not have to worry about it and pick it up if the river rises or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And I talked to Cooper a little bit about this, and obviously, like, it's whatever Big T decides, obviously, or whatever seems the easiest and most affordable. That's not you're not dumping a bunch of money into for no reason. I talked to Cooper about this, and I was like, I think it would be smart to either get like a big A frame or even stake two smaller A frames right next to each other, and you could brush it in just because I feel like if you have an A frame, you can really, really, really brush it in. And also, I feel like then you can decide, like, okay, is the duck hole big enough? You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd want to build a permanent structure and
Yeah,
then
that's true.
figure out if okay, the next year, like, we're still kind of struggling to get them in. We need to make a little bigger of a hole. And not saying that that would happen or not, but I'm just saying, like, that would just be my safe, my safe space, because then also you can not only use those A frames if you want to go in the field somewhere, if you want to get into goose season and whatnot. But I think also one thing you guys also didn't mention, which sometimes helps, sometimes does not. I think it'd be very beneficial, instead of using a dozen decoys or a dozen and a half or 2 dozen decoys, which we usually use. And I mean, even sometimes we'll use 3 dozen decoys in the river, which
Yeah,
really packs it. I think in a 1 acre hole, I think you could easily put anywhere from 3 to 5, even maybe 6 dozen decoys out there if you really wanted to. And also that creates an ease of, you could leave the decoys in the blind. You could,
yeah.
what I mean? And instead of having to carry it 200, 300 yards through the woods in the morning at 4 a.m.
I
And
was I was also thinking for a blind, we could just cut the legs off of the duck blind we already put out there, like
that's
cut it as
true.
low as we can, and we get like 8 people and move it over there.
That's very true too.
That would be really heavy though.
It wouldn't be too bad if you have like 8 people.
That sucker was so freaking heavy when we moved that.
And
Yeah.
that was just the
Speaking of
There was
that, we
only
built
platform.
four of us, and
That was
that
the
was the
we
platform
base
that we
though.
carried over, not the
we
full
we
thing
built
built.
a. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Coop.
Oh no, I'm good. I just said what I needed to.
I was just saying, we built that thing and we hunted out of that. We probably hunted out of that 15 times. Not this past season, the season before, and we saw like one duck out of it. I think
Yeah,
that was
it was
awful. That was,
rough.
and I'm blaming that on Cooper. That was terrible placement.
But then we
That's
That's when
went
we
Cooper's
didn't
fault.
really know what we were doing.
we
We
went
just judged it
across
by off of where the most traffic was.
Yeah, for
And I
we
sure.
went
don't think
across the river
it's
though
really
right there.
it's not a terrible spot, but when the water's low, it's not great.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with
We
you.
went across the river right there, and I think we had more luck on the other side. And
Yeah.
then
Well,
Cooper turned into Chef Boyardee in the blind, started making
yeah,
us
he did.
breakfast burritos and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had those pre-prepared. I just heated them up on the little buddy heater.
That's the most underrated cooking utensil or cooking
Yeah.
device in hunting.
If you want to see that, just go to his Facebook and you can look at his profile picture.
That is so true.
That's me holding the Tabasco sauce or whatever
I thought it
Frank's
was
Red.
Frank's. Don't
Yeah,
disrespect Frank's Red Hot for that, for Tabasco sauce.
I think Frank's is kind of overrated.
It's better than Tabasco though.
I,
I think it's all overrated. That stuff's bad, you know? Just put it on the little buddy
You're
heater,
not a
heat it up,
hot
and eat
sauce
it.
guy though.
Nah, I'm more of a
Sora
not so
thinks
spicy
pepper
guy.
is spicy.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm just not really into the spice.
we know you can't
I
handle the
will
heat,
say,
brother.
I will say, whenever you're duck hunting, having breakfast is a huge plus. Like, if we build this
Yeah,
pond, I'm gonna be cooking breakfast every single time we're out there.
we're gonna hold you to that. Hopefully, good thing that's recording,
Not
because
for you guys.
we're playing
I'll
that.
make the breakfast for myself, not for you guys.
I'm the
Oh,
best
that's
chef
nice.
here. I think it's better if I cook.
I don't care.
Actually, no, I'll
I don't
pass
care
because I
either.
don't need to. I don't want to bring all the supplies for that.
You got that?
I'll just
Yeah,
eat.
we know Cooper. Cooper too lazy to bring all that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Hey, listen, when you're fat like me, bro, you
You
know
are
how to
not
cook.
fat. You were like 20 pounds soaking wet.
No, I just love food though.
You do love your food.
Yeah, he probably would eat all the food if we brought it. We wouldn't get
That's
anything.
facts.
It'd be Cooper
That
eating
is
it all.
that is one major benefit to having a permanent duck blind or a permanent duck hole that you don't have to carry decoys in. You can cook breakfast. You could have the worst morning in the world, not see a single duck, and when like 8 o'clock comes around, if you smell bacon on a griddle or you smell eggs or something and you're freezing cold, your day is great.
Plus, if it's not wet out there, we would be able to drive somewhat closer to the duck hole. Like whenever we're leaving, we could drive the truck all the way down and just load everything up. It'd be a lot
Yeah.
easier. I wouldn't say drive down there when it's dark still necessarily, because there could be ducks on the pond or something. But
I am curious
definitely
about
whenever
that.
we're leaving.
I'm curious if there's like gonna actually, if you guys do go through with this and it works. I'm curious like if there is gonna be like ducks sitting on it and whatnot. You know what I mean? Because I'm curious if you're
Yeah.
gonna get like actual ducks to sit on it, or is it just gonna be like a loafing pond? You know what I mean? A pond that a duck might come by or a goose might come by, but because like an acre is not a ton of ground for something to like feed and eat, but like it's definitely a spot that I call the relaxing, like a relaxing spot for a duck because I mean they got to be somewhat like humans. Not everybody likes the city, so I mean some people got to like going off by themselves. So I don't know, but I think we're gonna wrap this first episode up. We're gonna keep them short because ain't nobody likes to sit down for an hour and a half and listen to a stupid podcast. But
That's
we're gonna
very
keep
true. I
recording.
would not
We're
be
gonna
doing
keep
that.
record. We're gonna keep recording. Um, Here and maybe we might record another one here, but I don't know. But well, thank you for watching. Follow us on all the socials: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Um,
Pretty much
Anything to say,
every
guys?
social media. Nah, not really. Cooper, what you got to say?
Some new content on YouTube. We're gonna try to put out some new content soon. I know we've been slacking, but spring is
Yeah, we
around the
have been
corner,
slacking.
so just
Uh,
pay attention to that. We'll have videos coming soon.
Sounds good. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm gonna end this episode.